Welcome to episode 6 of Unima Talks. Tonight, we have a special guest. Her name is Taylor Bibat. She's an artist, puppeteer, producer, and one of the nicest people I've ever met. Taylor Bibat. Let's just hold on until Taylor gets in. While we wait, oh, here she is. Hello, Taylor. Your audio is connecting. I can't hear you.
Hello?
Hello! Do you like my beach?
I love your beach. Can I come join you?
You can come join me. It's a filter. It's a
what?
filter. It's
A
a
what?
filter. It's not real.
Fake. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Not on the puppet hustle as usual. Sitting comfortably in a chair.
I know. I
Yeah.
turned on lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Little...
It's good. How have you been?
I've been pretty good.
Yeah, all the puppet things are happening.
Yeah, it's good. Took over for Rachel Burson.
Oh.
With the LA Guild.
Okay. You guys had a puppet slam recently, did you? Puppetzilla.
Yeah, we had Puppetzilla on Saturday, and it was really good. We had over 100 people in the audience.
That's a lot of people.
It's really
good, right?
And the acts were just like such a beautiful variety of stuff. Some people who had been like puppeteering for 40 years, and then some people were it was their first puppet slam. It's just so awesome. But yeah, it's fun to I didn't really want to be president of the guild.
Oh.
But because Rachel was so great, and she makes it look so. She did a lot of work. So me, Perry Daniel, and Eli Presser divided it up into 3. So there are 3 of us now being the president.
And that's good. So if somebody can't do it, there's a replacement, and that's always good.
It is, and now I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So you just have to sometimes you just have to think. We thought out of the box a little bit, and we're like, none of us want to do the whole thing, but we all want to do parts of it. So we're just going to work together.
Yeah, and that way, if you're good at something, you do that. If Perry's good at something, she does that. If Eli, same thing for Eli. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Unima Talks is just us talking puppets,
Yeah.
Casual conversation about puppets. I randomly ask some structured questions in between, but for the most of it, it's just puppets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you edit it at all, or do you just?
I edit pictures in and stuff. Like if we talk about stuff, you send me pictures that we talk about, like stuff that we talked about, and we throw it in there.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it's good. I'm not confident enough to do this live yet, So yeah. I like doing it this way.
Always makes me nervous.
Yeah, I like doing it this way, so we can talk casually. I don't usually edit things out of the talking, but I put in pictures of stuff we spoke about.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's hot.
It's hot. Yeah, it's always hot in Trinidad, but it's been hot here too. But it's been hot. But you guys have a hurricane in LA going on right now?
Yeah, it's over.
It's over.
The sun's out.
That's good.
It looks good out there.
That's good.
I just got rain. I didn't get any wind or anything like that, so it was like less scary than other storms have been.
Yeah. I'm glad everyone is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to put my phone away so it doesn't distract me. Put it on Do Not Disturb.
Do Not Disturb. It's important
Don't discourage
puppet business.
it is important
Yes.
business. I'm
Yeah.
closing my messenger.
Uh-huh.
I'm just talking to my friend Sherwin.
Yeah. So
All I have to do.
that's all you gotta do. So I simply start out the whole thing off with, why puppets?
The age-old question:
Yeah,
why
why
puppets?
puppets?
Why puppets for me, or why puppets?
Why puppets for you?
Why puppets for me?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like puppets express. So there's reality and there's the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and I think reality can be expressed with words and with people moving around doing things, with pictures. For me, the truth cannot be expressed in those ways for me. And so puppetry gives me access to other things that are inexpressible. Because I still don't know how to express the truth. I don't know how to express, like that moment between sleeping and waking where you're kind of awake, kind of sentient, but you're kind of in a different place. How do you even, I don't know how to put that into words. I just tried, but it wasn't real. It wasn't good. I think puppetry to me can get at that in the closest way. Also, it's a combination, just practically, it's a combination of so many different art forms.
Mm-hmm.
And I am what you would call a generalist or I use the word multi-potentialite.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do a lot of things, and I think puppeteers, a lot of us are that way,
Mm-hmm.
where we enjoy not all of everything, but performing, writing, making things with our hands, producing, bringing people together. There's all these different things, and through puppetry, I feel like I'm able to access all those different parts of myself. So I'm very glad that I found puppetry in high school, or puppetry found me in high school. Or a lot of people never get exposed to the thing that they sync with.
Mm-hmm. The arts is something that, like a lot of people find in high school, and sometimes, because of things like it's just underfunded and stuff, it doesn't go the way you want, But that's a really awesome answer. I actually haven't gotten that like big an answer from anyone yet. Like, that's a good structured answer, and then I expect that from you. I always tell everybody, like when I look at your bio and the things that you've done, it's so funny that we have so much in common, and it's pinpointed like wow. I like that the second thing on your bio on your website is like, I made glasses. I was like, I did that too.
You did?
Yes, I did. We talked about this from start to finish.
So much about
from start to finish. Yeah,
and it's funny that that's the second thing on my list. I think it's the second because I didn't do it for that long, but it's like it is so different than other things I've done, but it's also very similar. It's like I didn't like selling them. I like making the lenses, like grinding the lenses, and like this is a thing. Like right now, your face, is, like your glasses are the center of your face. I'm not wearing mine right now.
She's gonna put on her glasses.
Like I look completely different with them on and with them off. They're just like such, and they allow us to see. I don't know. To me, like that was a departure from what I thought I was doing, and I was only doing it to make some part-time money between theater gigs, and a friend of mine was my boss in a theater gig, and his wife had managed a glasses place.
Yeah.
So like that's why I did that. But then I was like, this is so integral to our human existence.
It is. It's the gift of sight. It's the gift of sight. And I always say, like, I've from my boss back then. His name is Kelly Bainey. He's an amazing guy because he's the kind of guy that he believes in Steve Jobs. He loves Steve Jobs, and he would always like talk about things like that. And the one thing he taught me that really stuck is that he said, in this life, Shaylin, we're here to earn, we're here to learn, and we're here to yearn. And he said, "Do you understand what that means?" And I was a lot younger then, and I was like, "Tell me what it means." He said, "We're here to earn. You have to earn a living because you have to live, right? We're here to learn." He said, "Learn everything that you can possibly learn in this plane. Every single thing that there is available to learn that you can learn, do it." He said, and you're here to yearn. That's the third thing. And he said that's the most important thing because you yearn for something better. You always yearn. You always dream. Dare to dream. And that kind of stuck till I started thinking about it in more recent times. I was like, you dare to dream, and you have to dream. And that's what
Yeah,
keeps the whole puppetry thing alive, though. For me, like those three words: earn, learn, yearn, every day.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm really trying to keep myself from writing that down. So I'm like,
write it
this is
down.
recorded. This is
Write it
recorded. I
down.
can.
You
It's
gotta write it down.
that's really wonderful. I think the yearn part is really tricky
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
you want the way that you keep improving and the way that life stays interesting
Hmm.
is wanting more and
Yes.
dreaming. At the same time, if
Hmm.
you're not don't have gratitude for what you have
Hmm.
and where you are and what you have achieved,
Hmm.
that's no way to live either. And
Exactly.
I'm struggling right now with valuing myself
Hmm.
for internal reasons as opposed to
Hmm.
external
Hmm.
factors. So
Hmm.
like it's like, okay, I'm not making a whole ton of money right now, and it makes me feel uh, invaluable is the opposite, the not valuable.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and I'm not making the art that I want to be making right
Hmm.
now, and that makes me feel like I'm not valuable. And
Hmm.
then I'm not like I don't have the I want to have a business and make art and bring people together, and I'm not really following through on that. So I'm just like trying to keep in mind like I am valuable. Me,
Hmm.
who I am is
Hmm.
valuable. And I had the other day I was just going off about this, and my boyfriend, I kept saying, I have to figure out what I'm doing with my life. I have to
Hmm.
figure out what I'm doing with my life. And my boyfriend said, you know what you're doing with your life. You're always doing stuff with your life.
Hmm.
You're right now you're talking about monetizing it. That's a much
Hmm.
smaller problem than what am I gonna you're just putting so
Hmm.
much pressure on yourself.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's what the
Yeah.
learn, yearn thing made me think
Yeah. And
about.
and
It's really
that's the thing.
interesting.
You have to really pick and choose what you take from that, because yin could mean anything. Yin could mean physical things. It could mean material things, and that's the wrong side of yearning. The yearning that he's talking about is always yearning to do better, or to be better, or to learn something new, or to find something else. And I think that works really well with the arts and with puppetry and everything that we're doing. Or even but even in business, it's still a good way to be, in that you know there isn't much schooling for puppets, or not much at all in Trinidad. I have a cousin who recently did theater arts, and she graduated recently, and it's awesome. And her dad, um, he told me, he's like, Shuin, um, you influence my children because you're doing something that's extraordinary. No, nobody's doing it. He said, you basically influence my children to be creative. And then my cousin was telling me, like, there's only like a little like mention of puppetry in theater arts in Trinidad. Not even that much. The guy who was supposed to come and lecture them about puppets never even showed up, and that's how little there is. But with yearning for more, you go out there and you find it. And I think that's a lot. That has a lot to do with my understanding of the things you do. You go out and you find the projects, you do the things, you create things. And just like, oh yay, that was something revolutionary during the pandemic. It was something that we needed. It's something that had to exist. It had to happen, and people didn't really understand it during the Puppeteers of America thing. But when they did, they started valuing what it was.
Thank you so much for stepping in and being there in that virtual space for the Puppeteers of America Festival, because I mean, I wish I had been able to be in the virtual room more.
Hmm. Hmm.
I loved
I love
being
that room. Yeah.
live in this
Mhm.
at the actual event.
Mhm.
But from whenever I popped in there, there was this really interesting dynamic
Mhm.
there
Mhm.
because the people who were there
Mhm.
wanted to be with other like-minded people
Correct.
so badly, and they got to be,
Yep.
even from their living room. And
Mhm.
I was really happy that I spent the time to. Well, I saw that they had a virtual. They were doing a virtual festival. Like, what was it, like less than 2 weeks before the festival?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I contacted Dustin and
Mhm.
I said, "Hey, I've got this platform, this virtual event
Mhm.
platform. I'd love
Mhm.
to build a clubhouse."
Mhm.
And so that was just like my pitch,
Mhm.
and they kind of threw it in at the end. But I was really,
But it
uh,
worked.
it was, yeah, it was
Yeah.
really cool. And you
It's good.
guys, like, who were
I
the
heard
guys?
so many stories, like from
Oh,
from the from the older folks that couldn't get to the festival. They had so much to say, and that's the thing about older people. They want people to hear their stories. They just want somebody to listen. And I was just sitting there, just listening. I'd just log on and listen to them.
yeah, my friend Kat, who
Mhm.
you probably met,
Mhm. Mhm.
who is not a puppeteer.
Mhm.
I have only met her in person once, but we've
Mhm.
been friends on Oye and
Mhm.
online
Mhm.
since early 2021.
Mhm.
Um, she just ended up hanging out in there because she was like, the stories that people
Uh-huh.
are telling are amazing.
Mhm.
She she wasn't even invested in the puppetry community
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
begin with.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that was a really special thing, and I don't know what's going to happen with Oye, um, but I did learn from that platform that uh, the virtual scene is a whole different way to create
Yes.
community.
Mhm. It is.
Um, yeah, and I'm not like I don't know very much about like the virtual, like as far as the like 3D models moving
Mhm.
around in virtual space, but as
Mhm.
far as this video goes, and then that platform creating a way for people to have um, a collaborator of mine calls it psychological safety,
Mhm.
because you're not just you are not worried about people just staring at your face.
Mhm.
You're more you can be invested in the conversation because
Mhm.
you're in the environment. You're not in this like really weird space where you're
Uh-huh.
just that people are literally just staring at your face
Mhm.
and there's nothing else going on.
Uh,
um, so that's really
Mhm.
special. So I know I want to explore that world
Mhm.
more, whether it's through Oye or through some of these
Something
other
new.
platforms.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure somebody is gonna say, "Hey, we need to find a way to recreate something like this," and it's probably gonna be better. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some cool ones out there. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a little stuck in my like I want Oye.
Yeah, we love OEA.
But there's some other stuff out there that's
OEA
doing
was OEA was your baby. That was yours. You really flew that flag, and it's amazing. And I like that we got a chance to put some puppet events into it. So like, hey, virtual puppetry things can happen, and it doesn't have to
I
be just in the pandemic. It could be outside of it.
Yeah, I love that. Did you come to me about that, or like how I can't even remember how that slam happened.
So the slam had to happen virtually because I didn't know
Right.
how to do a slam,
Yeah.
and I did the OEA. You had an OEA event that was for it was for Christmas, and you did an OEA event. I was like, this space would be great if we did a puppet thing. And then I contacted you, and we basically built that awesome universe.
This is so fun. And the mentorship program
Mhm.
was really
Mhm.
wonderful.
Mhm.
Um Also the like building on and learning
Mhm.
from, I mean, the LA Guild of
Mhm.
Puppetry
Mhm.
mentorship program,
Yeah. Mhm.
I had very little to do with that.
Mhm.
So I'm trying so it's not like, oh, we built off of something I made. I didn't make that at
No.
all. That was Christine. And but
Mhm.
you took
Mhm.
that or participated in that and then took
Yeah.
it and didn't like take it, but we talked to Rachel and to
Mhm.
Christine and like ask them what they learned, and I think that's just like such a cool thing to like move things forward. Learn. We don't have to recreate the wheel every time, but we do have to give some credit, you know, to what came before us, and I think that was just a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm also I want to come down and see you, but so impressed with like, and inspired is more the word, with what you're doing, because here, you know, it's not like everyone does puppetry, but there are a lot of puppeteers here. There's a lot of community, and you are creating that. And I know that you've pushed up against a lot of like, you've had to introduce it to a lot of people, and like what an amazing.
It's still an uphill battle, but I'm doing it.
Yep, you're in.
I'm 2 or 3 weeks away from a live puppet slam.
Yes.
Yeah.
The live
Puppet Survivor is gonna happen, and we're kind of doing hybrid, because a couple of friends from the O'Neill want to submit videos of like slam pieces that they've done. I was like, hey, I'll wheel in a projector there and I'll show that stuff. Yeah, and it's something. It's a scary feeling right now, because we have tickets to sell, we have, you know, bits to do. I keep telling people, like, I can't be an act. I can be an act, but I can't be the whole show. I need other people to collaborate. And the thing is, through this, you know, I'm meeting a lot of interesting people who want to do puppets, but just don't know where to find anything or how to find community, because there's no community. So it's more of a creating community. But this is not about Sherwin. This is about you.
Well, I am interested in Sherwin.
Oh yeah, I know you are. I mean, but again, I appreciate all the support that I've been getting from the LA Guild, from you, from the O'Neill, people from the O'Neill. It's a lovely network to be part of, and I tell everyone here who's interested in puppets, you don't have to fly anywhere, you don't have to go anywhere. Pam does the best workshops ever. I've been trumpeting those workshops all year, because if you want to get into slam culture, I think that's a great starting place. Severin and her workshops, just one of the best place to do like a solo act. You know,
she's good.
She is.
She's real good.
She
and
is.
I'm so glad that she's teaching.
Yeah.
I haven't taken any of her workshops, but she just has. She's got her thing down, and she's really good at mentoring other people.
She's doing a mentorship for women or people who identify as, and it sounds like something awesome, and I shared it. I put it out there. People, you know, get into it. She's doing something great, because she's trying to do basically what everybody's doing right now, trying to broaden that spectrum of people who may be interested in puppetry and just don't know where to find it. And that's a good place to find it.
Yeah, it's really great. Another group that's doing that. Do you know Glop? Of course, you know Glop.
I know Glop. I love them.
Yeah. So, did you see the first season? Like,
I saw. Yeah, I saw that.
And I was really lucky this year to ask to produce it, which was so fun. And we shot it a couple weeks ago, the second season.
I want to see that. That was great.
Yeah, we won't be releasing until after this.
How long is that going to go on?
It's going to go on until the AMPTP gets their head out of their.
Yeah, we know.
So people want to play fair with other humans, you know. That's.
I really feel it for the people who are not, you know, able to work right now. It's yeah. Is it okay that you do these things right now?
Yeah, I'm not SAG.
Okay.
And this is there's also it's mostly restricted based on the AMPTP studios. I know that's changed. It's also, you know, then SAG has changed it to be, oh wait, we're not going to to give agreements to anything that was written by WGA because that makes sense. They're on strike too, and wants to be solidarity. So, but yes, this is fine.
Yeah, come at me, bro. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that is just mind-boggling that people just want to take other people's work and make money themselves and not compensate.
But this was brewing some time now, I think, and even in the puppet wheel, I saw it brewing for some time. Like I saw some things and I did some things, and I wondered, like, okay, so we're moving from the big studio that we usually use, and we're putting non-union puppeteers in a smaller studio to do things. Sounds fishy.
Yes, I am always frustrated that human beings, it's not everyone, but a lot of people will do what they can get away with.
Oh yeah.
And that's, yeah, like moving. And I understand financials, I understand, but like humans first, you know, like we're all we have. We have the earth, we have each other. So why don't we all work together? Like it's very frustrating.
And the puppetry community is so small.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people do things like that, you have, like, you know, some people who, hey, I'll beat the system and I'll agree with the people who, you know, basically you're scabbing and everybody else has to suffer and you make money. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. And even when it's not, you know, when it's not strike time, there's a lot of people who just don't, puppeteers, actors, I've seen, you know, stunt people who are just starting out and they don't know, they just don't know what's right and when they're being taken advantage of. And I think, at least in the puppetry circles I run in, they're trying to be better about educating each other, and making sure that we look out for each other and we don't let other people get screwed. You know, and it makes it better for everyone. But it's also it's very, I understand why people are like, oh, they're not on camera. Like I understand if you're not familiar with it, how that could, like, no, I guess physically you're not. But if you're going to produce something that has puppets or that has an element in it that you're not familiar with, I hope that those producers do their research and stuff. So that's why I like producing puppet work, because I understand puppeteers and puppetry, and not only know how to make it happen, but also know how people should be treated. And I do my best.
And that's why you produce Puppets of Irie.
Yeah. That was fun. That was fun. And it was very satisfying.
Let's talk about things that Taylor has done. I took the liberty of looking at your IMBD page.
Okay.
There's really cool things on that.
What's on
like, I saw Walking Dead. I saw...
Oh, that's not on. No, Walking Dead was not there.
Really?
I think that's an
something.
ad. That's okay. But yes, Fast and Furious is in there.
Yeah, I think it's Fast and Furious I saw then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious was the first, like, big movie I worked on.
Yeah.
When I moved to LA, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I saw some other things. I just didn't read them carefully.
It's okay. Walking Dead is like, their ads are all over. But yeah, that was like, I got to work on the Universal lot. Got to drive the golf carts. You know, I got to be annoyed with the tram, the tourists, because I'm working.
So that was working on production on that. That had nothing to do with puppets, did it?
No. I decided in 2015, I was 3 days before my 30th birthday. I moved to LA, and I wanted to learn film production, and I knew nothing. I didn't know what jobs there were. I met with someone, and I said, actually, the person who Chris Bryant, who gave me the job at Fast 8. And I got connected to him, and I sat down with a meeting with him, and I said, so I don't know what jobs there are in film, but I want to learn. I come from a theater background. These are the things I'm good at. These are the things I enjoy. And he said, well, you want to be a creative producer. That's what you're describing. And so then he started training me. Well, before we could really do that, he needed someone for a job, so he brought me on to Fast 8. So that was great. And then after, when they went into production, it was mostly in Atlanta, and I just moved to LA, so I didn't want to go to Atlanta. So I started working in the special effects shop. And basically most of the production had moved to Atlanta, and they shot in Cuba and Iceland, but they were having to, like, you know, build out the cars and stuff like that. That was a really cool thing to be around all the
time. And some of those stunt cars could pass as puppets.
Totally, sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, they could pass as puppets.
But you know, like, I couldn't produce puppet film work until I knew how to produce film work. Like, I didn't even know, you know, any of the language. Like, it is so stressful to go onto a set knowing that you don't know the language. You literally don't know the language. And it's like, there's all this slang, and people expect you to know it. And so it's really, especially when you're like 30 years old, you know, and you're going on, you're like, I'm a baby.
And it's funny, I was telling Dana yesterday, or maybe the day before, your 30s are like the new teenage years.
Good.
That's when you find that's when you find yourself, I think. That's how it's been for me. Like, you really figure out who you are, who you want to be in those years. Like, everything else doesn't matter. Like, this is what I'm doing now.
I love that. I feel like, I just hope that by the time I turn 40, I have figured it out, and then I can live it. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So I have 2 more. I just turned 38. So I have about 2 more years to, like, figure out, not gonna figure out everything, but kind of just figure out, like, what I'm rolling toward.
What do you get into? But I don't think you have a deadline. You don't have a deadline.
I know. I give myself these arbitrary deadlines, and I just stress myself out.
Yeah, because we keep thinking that the clock is ticking and we don't have time to do the things that we're going to do. But you know what? If you think about it all the time and you don't do the things,
you're ticking your own time away. Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take a break, though. So,
yes.
Yeah. So from film, getting into film, how did you move from film to puppetry, make that connection?
I just started to, the very first thing that I actually did, I think I worked on a short film at Chapman, like, when I first flew in. But the first, like, a small feature film was Yamasong, which was Sam Koji Hale. I don't have my self view on, but I have a puppet of Sam's that was in Yamasong.
I saw it when we started, and I was like, that's an interesting puppet. I just saw the belly, and I was like, wow.
That's cool. The cloud breather from Yamasong. Sam Koji Hale made. And that was actually I did work on that, which was a couple weeks of work, and that was amazing.
I'm sorry, I'm having tea while you're talking.
Oh, that's okay. I have tea right here as well, but it's so hot that I'm just like, and so through that, I started to learn, find out who the puppet film community was, and I ended up assistant directing some short films, and I just, like, started, I guess I maybe just started to talk to people and tell them I was interested, and I fell into assistant directing, actually, which I love doing for puppetry, because it's all about figuring out the logistics of how we're going to, and scheduling and puzzle piecing together, of, like, how we're going to get the thing done in the room. And it's easier to do that for puppetry when you understand puppetry. So I found myself being like a really good assistant director, supporting the directors and getting their films made. Though I would not want to do that as a full-time career because it's an intensely stressful job. So it's like, okay, I'll do it for a week or two, 3 days, 10 days, something there. But then it stops being fun for me.
It's kind of like a project. You do it for a little bit and you move on.
Yeah. But producing puppet work is great. And that's another thing that I think I'm glad to know how to be a puppeteer and understand how puppets work. It's just so different from other filmmaking as well. It's like each shot is a special effects shot. Each shot has to be rigged differently, or especially when you get into like tabletop shadow, like anything. Sometimes like Muppet style, they're a little more human like in the way that, but even that, you're rigging like puppets, unless they're live hand puppets, they are not going to hold something. You have to adhere it to the hand. That takes time. So building that into the schedule, that stuff. I'm very left and right brained, so I love the creative, artistic part of it, but then also like the spreadsheets and the logistics is so fun for me.
And I was just gonna say that you're very good at creating the world that puppet has to exist in, but you're also very good at the planning aspect of these things. Like I learned so much from your planning, and I've employed that by myself this time for Puppet Survivor live, not as organized as you've been doing it, but it's still a good way to, still a good, how to say this, it's a good format to use in it for live, maybe not for live, maybe for virtual, but it still works. And
the only way to learn it is to do it.
You take what we already know and we expand on it. Yeah, that's what we did.
Yep.
Yeah. So because we're using free Zoom, we're gonna have to jump in and jump back out, if you don't mind, but not yet. We have like 3 minutes on here, so we can talk about something random again. So you're talking about different types of puppets and how they're filmed and stuff. I always say Muppets are, with lack of a better term, Muppet style puppets are basically a monster all on its own. That's a totally different beast. But when you're doing stuff with Sam Koji, or when you're doing marionette stuff or tabletop stuff, filming these things are very different. Creating that world is very different. And I know you've done a lot of different things in different styles. So tell me, what was probably the most difficult or the easiest one that you've done?
Let's see. They're all just so. They're all so specific. I wasn't actually on set for Cosmic Fling, which was John Lonergan's film that Philip Huber puppeteered. But I would imagine that may have been. I mean, it's like I worked on it, and I worked on it beforehand. I don't know why I'm saying the most challenging thing is something I didn't even do. I don't know. I just think I enjoy all of it so much, so it doesn't feel.
It doesn't feel hard at all, does it?
Yeah, it just. Yeah. I mean, it's hard, but it's not. It's not there. The problem solving is part of the fun of it. But I do think the reason I say Cosmic Fling is because that's marionettes, and marionettes are really, really.
Yeah, I don't think I can do marionettes. I've tried it, but I don't think I can do it. Like I see strings, and I think I'll tangle those strings.
And you might.
I just might.
You probably will. Actually,
I built a marionette when I was about 17 or 18, and it wasn't like a very good one. It was just like an ostrich, and it was cool, and I learned how to use this thing, and it was great, and that was enough.
Yeah,
That was
you
just
don't
enough.
have to love every puppet style.
No.
Like
I know my
I would.
styles.
In 2012 was the first year I did the O'Neill,
Uh-huh.
and I was in Marty Robinson's strand,
Mm-hmm.
and we did all different styles. And one thing at the beginning, we went around and we said, "You may have learned this from Marty, the like your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you want to learn." That's kind of what I did to get that other job. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
But my weakness, I said, I'm afraid of puppets with mouths. Is what I said. Like on the first
Yeah.
the first time I did TV style
Mm-hmm.
anything with the monitor was with Marty that week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was marionettes and anything with a mouth that I was afraid of. And since then, I've done both.
Mm-hmm.
So I've studied marionettes with Philip Huber.
Mm-hmm.
I still, not.
My name is Shubin Rakal. I am a puppeteer and filmmaker from Trinidad and Tobago. We specialize in anything puppets, Muppet style puppets, shadow puppets, performance puppets, anything puppets.
Amazing. Can you tell us why puppets?
Well, puppets bring me a lot of joy. Puppetry is the ultimate expression of art form. It's taking something inanimate and breathing life into it and telling a story, telling your story or the story that the object wants to tell or should tell. Puppetry encompasses everything that is the performance arts or visual arts. It's building a puppet, it's the script writing, it's the things that go into building a set, and every other visual art you could possibly think about goes into that one puppet show. And that's why I think it's the ultimate expression of arts.
Amazing. I heard that you're having a puppet slam at Junkalage on September 9th.
Yes, I am. We'll be having a puppet slam, and everybody's welcome.
Cool. Can you tell us who can perform, who can sign up?
Any type of performance art that includes a puppet or object movement, meaning it doesn't necessarily have to be Muppet style puppets like Ian Bud or Elmo. It can be it can be silk pieces. It can be jugglers. It can be movement pieces. It can be dance pieces. It doesn't have to necessarily be Muppet style puppets. If you're a marionettist or something like down that lines, you can do that. There's shadow puppets or anything that involves the movement of the inanimate, bringing it to life and telling that story.
Amazing. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to that puppet slam.
Puppet Safari at Junkalage Gypsy Caravan.
Okay. So I'll take it from so in 2018 I studied with Philip Huber marionettes, and I made my marionette and I brought it. Made some mistakes making that marionette, like a marionette with a giant belly can be hard because there has to be strings that go from the feet. So learned some lessons, but I did it, and now I know that I can, and it's just takes a lot of hours and hours and years of practice to be good. So I'm not good, but that form is amazing because the physics of it and the mechanisms and the just really simple. You pull this and it makes that go up, or a pendulum swings like this, and so you need to be able to control that and know what physics are going to do to the puppet. It's so cool.
Where'd you go?
My video wasn't started that whole time.
Yeah.
Was my video not on?
It's not. It's on now. It's okay. It's fine. It's good.
I'm still a Zoom amateur.
We're zoomies.
Zoomies. I've got the zoomies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. I don't know what I just said.
We were talking about marionettes and how the belly shouldn't be big. Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually have big heads.
Now I have burps. What?
They usually have big heads.
Right, and that makes sense. Do you want to see?
I want to see.
Do you want-
What are we gonna look
okay,
at?
we're gonna look at. Let's hold on.
It's show and tell time.
Show and tell time.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So this is Ollie,
okay. I would have
and
never thought you made a soft marionette.
yeah, and so he's got like this big old belly.
Uh-huh.
I haven't pulled him out for a while. His look at that, like his
Yeah.
like strings like go into his belly because that's the path of the strings.
Uh-huh. He's got too many bellies.
Too many bellies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned a lot here, and also, what else? Yeah, just put the hair is
Mhm.
challenging. So with Philip, you learn all these different techniques to not do what you said, not
Yeah.
get the strings
Things
tangled.
tangled, yeah. I'll tangle that. I won't even hold it. I'm gonna tangle that. But that's awesome. I could just imagine you being nervous with that, and every move that you make, that puppet's gonna be nervous.
Yeah. So the first, okay, pull the camera back. So the first tech, so like you do like a little tech rehearsal at the O'Neill before the performance. And I am so used to being able to like, you get on stage and that energy helps fuel you, right? It feels really good. A little bit of nervous energy, but it gives you, I mean, I'm probably doing it right now. It gives you that little extra sparkle. With marionettes, I learned in my experience that it is not helpful because every extra energy movement that you have moves those strings. And that means that you're not totally in control. And that means that there is a good chance that you're gonna tangle those strings. And that's what I did in that tech rehearsal. I was like, I'm so glad we got to run it when there wasn't an audience, because then every other performance I took deep breaths and I got my heart rate down before I performed. Which, when usually it's like you're backstage, you're jumping up and down, you know? And I had to like learn to just control myself and like kind of zen out. So that was it's just a different kind of performing than I had ever done before. And Philip is just the best teacher. I mean, he's kind, he's incredibly talented and generous. I mean, one of the most generous people I've ever met. And he also is incredibly disciplined and teaches you discipline. And that's what you need for marionettes. It's like all about discipline, the repetition, like, because you're collaborating with this puppet that is under the control. It's not just under the control of you; it's under the control of physics. And you're collaborating with elements.
Yep.
Cool. Very
And
cool.
that's the funny thing about how, well, my high school art teacher would tell me. She said, "Show, an art is like a dance. No matter what type of art it is, you have to practice. You have to practice. You have to have discipline. You have to be, you know, you have to find some kind of discipline in what you're doing, because that's what it is. It's an art. The art is a discipline, and if you don't practice, it won't get better. So yeah, makes sense. And it's
Yearning.
funny.
Learning.
Yeah. And we all go back to that earning and yearning and living, and it's funny. I as a kid, I would get really upset with that teacher because I wanted to be, paint paint stuff and draw stuff and that kind of stuff. And maybe she saw that, yes, I was good at it, but I wasn't really like a portrait guy, or I wasn't really a scenery guy. I was more of a whimsical guy, and she gave me the things to do, like leathercraft or textiles, um, printmaking and stuff like that. And I was really upset that she gave me these really tactile things to do. I was like, this is not me. I'm above this. I'm an artist. But I was a kid, and as a kid, you think art is just painting and drawing, and it's not. And funny enough, I tell everybody, I was like, doing this at that point in time, has taught me about making shoes or making random things that all help with puppets. Because of my exposure to textiles and leather craft and all these things and stitching and stuff, is why you could build puppets. And God bless us all, Mrs. Davis. Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah.
sounds like, was that in grade school?
That was in high school.
In high school. You
High
had
school.
that stuff in high school.
Our
We had
art
art, like,
curriculum.
I had like drawing.
Yeah, our art curriculum in secondary school, what they try to do in the latter years before we have something called CXC that you write exams that you get a high school certificate. What they do is they try to equip you with something that you could use as a skill when you leave school.
How smart.
Yeah.
How practical.
I don't know if they still do it, but they would teach things like well, again, like printmaking and stuff. Printmaking is an amazing thing. So you basically, she taught us how to make these huge tapestries, but where you repeat prints over and over, stencil them, and you make prints over and over and over. Or again, with the leather craft, I can make shoes, I can make hats, I can make belts, I can do all these things. I haven't done that in years, but I'm sure if I get a kit and put it together, I can do it. And
Yeah.
and things like that stick. They do like pottery and stuff. I'm not sure if they still do those things, but they used to. They did, like, they had a really cool public school art situation going on, and even later down into my into my well my last year in school, I realized that they had an AV room that had a TV studio and things that you could record stuff. It's just that nobody used it. I was just walking down the hall, and my Spanish teacher, he was like, "Hey, I need you for something." I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "I'll show you something." So took us into the AV room, and there was cameras and everything set up. And I think they had set up for like a school news thing. So they had like a desk that was supposed to be for a newscast or something. And he wanted to just do like a little video, and I had to act in the video. It was fun. It
That's
was fun.
awesome.
I had to be a bully, but it's fine. I'm no bully.
No.
I'm not
You're not.
convincing as a bully.
No.
I was the nerdiest bully that you could ever see. I had shoulder length hair. I was wearing glasses, and I was a string bean. I was not a convincing bully at all.
Oh, what a cute bully.
Yeah, like, not a cute
Was
bully.
it fun
It was fun.
to
It was
step
fun.
out of yourself?
It was a little, yeah. It was a little. Yeah, it's always good. It's always good.
Yeah.
But I like how things always go full circle. Like the things that you didn't think would impact your puppetry life does actually reach back all the way around.
Yeah, and this brings us back to what we talked about at the beginning. One of the
Mhm.
reasons why puppetry for me,
Mhm.
because and why puppetry and producing in general,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, because there are all of the things can apply. Just
Mhm.
art in general. I guess art.
Mhm.
Everything can inform your art.
Mhm.
The news that you read or the history book that or the history that you hear on a podcast,
Mhm.
or like, building houses with Habitat for Humanity or whatever
Mhm.
it is.
Mhm.
Like, art is about everything.
Mhm.
So,
And even when you were explaining that when you were explaining why puppets for you, right? You said something that was kind of cool. But actually, it was really cool because it's something I've been thinking about all the time. You said that puppetry helps you or gives you the ability to express that in between awake and sleep, that universe of things that we just don't know about or we just can't explain with words, right? And I've probably told you this already, but I've had this reoccurring dream that always happens, that me walking down the street, it's a rainy street, I don't know where I'm going, but I always end up somewhere. I always end up at that same place. It's a bar, smoky. And the only way I think I can express this is through a puppet film. I just haven't gotten the time to put it together. The funny thing is, there's no words. There's no conversation that happens. It's just white noise. Whenever it happens, it's just white noise. And I'm walking through, and it's one of the most amazing street scenes that you could ever see. It's rainy, it's dark, it's really grim. Like you're walking through a Gotham-like place, and you get to that point where you wanna, it reaches like, where am I going? When I finally get to this place, you just walk into that bar. I sit at the bar, I order something, it comes to me, and I wake up every time. every single time. And it's amazing that you said that awake and the sleep and in between universe that we just can't explain. Puppets help us explain those things. Puppets help us do those things. I started working on that at the O'Neill, chickened out because it just wasn't the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, it's
It
also
didn't feel right.
fine. Like, when do
Yeah.
you push yourself?
Yeah.
When do you just let it not be the right time? Because sometimes you trick yourself. Your mind tells you, oh, it's not right, because you're scared. And sometimes it's just not right. And I have not.
I was scared.
I was scared.
I was scared. It was a lot because, again, as Jean Marie said, it's a lot of. There was a lot of talent there. There's a saturation of talent, and that being your first year, she's like, you're being very, very ambitious, but they're not stopping you. If you want to do it, do it. And if you can't, don't do it. Yeah.
I had participant projects that I think I had one year I started and I didn't follow through. And that was primarily because I found out that a friend passed away while I was at the O'Neill. But yeah, it felt
weird.
Felt weird to not.
It would, yeah.
But also, most, the projects that I have done are not finished. They're not good. They're not finished. But I was watching one back.
I would say that they're not good. They're just not. They're not what you want them to be just yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're, because in 4.5 hours, that's.
Yeah, you can't do much of anything.
And that's the achievement. And you physicalize something that you've had in your head. That's amazing. I just taught a workshop at the National Festival, and it's like I went back and I watched the first participant project that I did at the O'Neill in 2012, and I was like, oh, I was exploring the same stuff that I'm still interested in. And some of the pieces that the students made were very similar to what I had made in that participant project, like this year versus 2012.
Yeah.
And I watch it back and I'm like, it's not a full piece, but it's pretty. It's a pretty cool, like, basis of it.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that solo project I did with Jean Marie back then. Like, it's something that I would love to expand. I'd love to do it on a bigger scale. I think if I ever go back to the O'Neill,
You're gonna go back.
I want to go back at some point, yeah. And it's a toss up between Sugar and that fever dream I keep having. And because that piece is called Sugar, and I think how that works, you do shadows, and this is my idea. It's telling you my idea, because you're good to bounce.
You're telling everybody your idea too.
Oh no! Yeah, it is what it is. You may think something is new to you, but it's not. Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, you do the same piece, but you get like a giant shadow screen, and instead of using actual puppets, you use people as the shadow puppets. So then you get that movement, but everything else in the world is puppets that you use, props that you'd use. But you do it on a larger scale like that. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to really, Matt and Melissa did some really cool music to go with it, but there are some recordings from that time that people who came as indentured laborers from India to Trinidad, that they sang, like, songs that they sang on the boats and stuff. Like, I want to incorporate those songs along the journey.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a passion project in my mind right now.
That's awesome. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's kind of related. Something that I have been thinking about a lot lately is all of these ideas. Like, people like us have lots of ideas. And let's say that in a given day we come up with 3 different projects and we like build them all out in our heads. Like, we can see the whole thing. We didn't make it physically in the world, but we know what it is or we can feel, like, even if we couldn't write it out, we can feel what it would be. So let's say we have 3 in a day, and then it's 7 days, so we have 21 of those each week, let's say, in a good week. And we only make 1 every 6 months. It's a really high percentage of things we never made.
Yep.
And I really struggle with that, and I felt a lot of my life, like I just don't finish stuff. And it's true, like I start a lot of stuff and I don't finish it because I get excited about the next thing, and that's but I think a lot of that feeling is coming from, like, in my head there are so many, there's like, I only do 0.01% of the ideas I have, and that's not a high percentage, and it feels bad, but it's really that there's just such a high volume of ideas. So anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about, like how to just be okay with
I think
those
it's
things never exist.
I think it's a puppeteer thing, because even, I mean, like, I always, people say I reference these things too much, but I'll say it. If you look at the trajectory of Jim Henson's career and the things that he thought of and the things that he wanted to do, Adam Cruton just said something really amazing. He said, fail like Jim Henson. He failed upwards, and people don't know the struggles that went into what he did. And he too always said he was a man against time. And there's so much going on in that head of his, and we don't know how many more universes he had built in his mind because of the same thing. There's so much happening. And I would say puppetry is like that. We hear music, we see universes, we see characters, we see so much that we want to put out there. But getting it into a physical space is a hell of a thing. And it's something that I ask everybody else. I've asked everybody else, like, think of it. What would you be doing if you're not a puppeteer? If this is what you do as your full-time job, what else would you do? Would it be something creative? Would it not? And how does that impact on your creative time to find the time to bring these things to life?
I have so many different lifetimes that I've lived through in my head of, like, different career paths. One of them, the thing that I'm just so enthralled with right now is animal behavior. And I think one of the benefits of being an artist, whether it's film or theater or what have you, is you can explore different things. But I've had moments where I've thought, well, maybe I should just drop everything and just, like, go back to school for animal behavior. This would be another thing like film, where I would go to someone and say, I don't even know what jobs there are, but these are the things I'm interested in. Okay, yeah, I'll learn about elephants and devote the rest of my life to elephants. Okay, that sounds great. How do I do that? So it's a totally, like, ignorant thing for me to say. Like, I don't know anything about it, but something with animals and animal behavior, and I just am obsessed with them. So
I think now more than ever, a lot of people are interested in animal behaviors and stuff, because we may feel like we haven't evolved anyway, but we have a lot in the past, maybe couple decades, to understand animals a lot more. And because, as humans, we have taken a lot of them off the earth, now we don't know how to understand these creatures, and we want to know. The yearning is back to know, and to make that connection. And I love animals too. Like, I'm the kind of guy that will press my face up against a lion enclosure just for the lion to get this close to me. And then my brother scares me, and when the lion gets behind me, and then you scream. But it's something intense that it was something crazy to do. You get up to that enclosure. It was a glass front, and I pressed my face against it, and he was pacing. The lion was completely annoyed, or just pacing in front of it, and he was like, all right, you want to stick your face up there? And he just walked straight up, and he did the same thing and pressed his face right against it. and you see those big yellow eyes just looking at you like, what do you want?
Wow.
So, they can't say what they want to say, but you know what they're gonna say. Yeah, animal behavior is a hell of a thing. Like people, I've had friends tell me that I always narrate things, um, and I tried to pet a police horse some time ago, and I told a friend like the horse turned and looked at me like, "Don't touch me." And he's like, "How did you know what the horse was saying?" I was like, "You could see on his face, 'Don't touch me, I'll bite you, or I'll kick you
Yeah,
away.'"
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen or do you know anything about the play Chimpanzee, Nick Lehane?
I saw that.
You saw it.
I saw some video from it, and I saw pictures that Richard Timoney would have taken.
Yes.
I love that.
It is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the I love so many things about it. Um, this is in no particular order, but one of the things is the the joy that I get sitting just watching chimpanzees and gorillas
Mm-hmm.
in the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I mean, zoos are great. Zoos are doing a lot to
Mm-hmm. To change what we think
support
zoos are.
wildlife animals and
Mm-hmm.
right, yes.
Yeah.
But I still have a concept in my head of zoos bad, which is not true. But anyway, so I got a similar feeling watching her on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And one, they had studied chimpanzee movement so closely, and the skills of these puppeteers were out of this world, in addition to the teamwork that it
Mm-hmm.
took
Mm-hmm.
to bring one chimp to life. And so the awe of those things, the
Mm-hmm.
puppet things,
Mm-hmm.
matched in a weird way the awe that I feel watching an animal
Mm-hmm.
exist. And we got to spend just a lot of time watching her exist.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous. The other thing I love about it is that it brought light to a real issue and a real
Mm-hmm.
story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm uh, marinating on a lot, is how do we use art um, to enlighten, to bring awareness, to help people know what next steps are if they want to
Mm-hmm.
participate or either support or be in community with other people
Mm-hmm.
who are interested in that. But yeah, I mean, everyone who saw that show came out of it understanding a different side of our past, our human
Mm-hmm.
past,
Mm-hmm.
done and what we do
Mm-hmm.
to our fellow creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So that is such a successful, beautiful show.
Mm-hmm.
Really good example of like doing so many things as such.
And that's what puppets do. They could tell a story that the chimpanzee in the zoo may not be able to tell you. But in an intimate setting like that, where it's just you and that puppet, you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel it, you're gonna see it, you're gonna be in that world. And I mean, even I looked at the performance of The Life of Pi with that puppet tiger, and it's so amazing. You at no point in time I could see that puppeteer. In my mind, that's a real tiger. They brought that to life so well. And that's the thing. It wraps back to the fact that you wanna get into animal behaviors, and it's because you wanna know how things work. And that's what
Mm,
puppeteers do. We wanna know how things work. We wanna feel what you feel. We wanna be able to convey that story to the best way possible. So we delve so deep into it. And
yeah,
you're good
and
at that.
thank you. Another thing related to the whole truth, the whole like telling, expressing the liminal
Mm-hmm.
state,
Mm-hmm.
is the metaphor,
Mm-hmm.
puppets as metaphor, the material that is used, the if a if a if if you have a puppet and all of a sudden the limbs all separate and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes expansive, that is
Mm-hmm.
saying something other than that that creature is getting separated by its limbs. It could say something different because it's a metaphor symbolizing something. And so that's what I think, to get a little more specific about like the truth aspect, like that metaphor, and same with like any good puppet play, like the metaphor of the people, 3 people puppeteering this one creature says a lot. It just expresses a lot without saying anything. So gorgeous.
I saw a little bit of a piece that a friend of mine participated in the O'Neill this year, and what they did is they did exactly that. Everybody had a piece of wood that they carved into parts of a horse, and then everybody joined together. 6 or 7 people came together who in that strand, and they basically puppeteered that horse and animated that horse from those pieces. And I think that's amazing. It's probably been done before, but to just find everybody puppeteering in unison to bring these pieces of wood shaped like a horse into a believable horse. There's a lot to go in there, because you see the moments where the horse shakes his head or he claps his feet, something like that, and it brings life to something that's inanimate. It's just wood. It's just wood. But at that moment, it's real. It's breathing.
Yeah.
It's a horse. And then simply 6 puppeteers learning to breathe together, because legs and arms, legs and a head and everything have to have the same breath, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like what an amazing thing we get to do. Like that is, I think of how few people in the world get to bring an object to life with 5 other people. Like what a cool thing that we get to do. I want to also put a little plug to the Chicago International Puppet Theater Festival. That's where I saw Chimpanzee. So I want to, and I work for.
You can plug anything you want right now.
Well, so
you can
lucky
plug anything you want.
The Puppet Festival, the Chicago.
This is what this is about. Plug everything. I actually told Dana right before we started that's how I met you. I met you because you posted about Toy Theater Workshop that was at the virtual Chicago festival, and I registered not knowing how much days it was going to be and how my work schedule was going to go. And I took like the first 2 classes, and then I had to go to work, and I was really upset that hey, I couldn't finish this. And it started off really good. It was an amazing class. I can't remember the name of the teacher, but he was awesome.
Rossi?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. But it was, I mean, everybody was still learning back then with the whole like online thing, and how it works. Zoom is telling us that we're running out of time. Oh, I hate Zoom. I shouldn't say that on Zoom.
We love you, Zoom.
We love Zoom. Yeah. And I said that's how we met. And I was telling her, like, Taylor is one of the most generous person I've met in the puppetry community. I mean, I've met a lot of people and a lot of generous people, but that's the puppetry community. There's not much of us, but when we can lend a hand, we can. You said, hey, does anybody want a scholarship? And I said, hey, me. And at that point in time, I was raising my hand for everything. Like, everybody told me, like, you're doing everything. You're putting your hand into everything. I was like, that's what I have.
Everywhere.
I gotta do it.
LA, Chicago, you got to be everywhere because we were all nowhere.
Yeah. From the comfort of my room.
Yeah, what a cool. Yeah, I remember. I was like, wait, Sherwin's here. Sherwin's there. But yeah, that's such a cool. I mean, the pandemic obviously was terrible. It's it's still affecting people. But there are those things that came out of it, like
all the good things.
We're all kind of equalized as far as proximity to each other goes.
Yeah, and then there's things like this that can happen now. The aftermath of it all is that we could do things like this. We could share puppets with everybody. We could do online things, and it was funny. Yeah, and I sit on my beach. This is my real beach, and funny enough, this beach actually looks like Trinidad. It looks like a beach in Trinidad. I'm not sure if it is, but it does look like a beach in Trinidad. Yeah,
that's
could be.
Amazing. I'm not a big water person, I understand I have a healthy fear of the water,
It's good.
but I would not pass up a chance to hang out on that beach.
Just chill. I'm ashamed to say that the last beach I touched was at the O'Neill.
It's not a bad beach to touch.
No, it was cold though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in June.
Yeah. Cold.
Woo!
That's cold.
I was just looking at pictures and I found a picture of me first. I feel like it was maybe like, it's the first time I was at the O'Neill, but the first time I was at the O'Neill, I was there for 14 weeks. I was there for the National Peace Institute. And one, I'm 21, I think, so it was like 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting on that wall, me sitting on that wall, and I was just like, that's my happy place.
Yep.
I mean,
it is.
The O'Neill is just magical.
Mm-hmm. It is. I sit down and I tell everybody the one thing I took away from that is that the flowers around the entire campus, there are a lot of peonies, and at night you smell them, and I've been obsessed with that smell since. Like
I've got to go get some peonies and feel like I'm at
it's you at night. You just all you smell is peonies. Like I'd sit out there at the pub, and if somebody's vaping, well, you don't smell it. But if not, that's all you smell. Just sit down there.
What is that smell? Interesting.
Yeah, I like just lying down on the floor in the barn, looking at the ceiling, and thinking about all the things that would have happened there, and all the production that would happen or have happened, all the conversations, all the ideas, all the plays that were written. It's magic. That place is magic. Yeah.
One of my favorite. This is a non-puppetry conference story, but I was when it was like the first week or second week that I was at the O'Neill when I was a senior in college, and we had to do this project called the novel project, and they divided. I think there were 24 of us in our class, and they divided us up into groups of like 6 or something like that, and we had like maybe 4 pages of this novel called, I think it was called Kips or something, like this old novel, and we had to read it word for word and act it out. But none of the text that we read could be read as narration. So everything had to be dialogue, but it was a narrative. I mean, it was a novel.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating, and we were all just meeting each other, and at one point, someone in my group just like they were I feel like I don't remember who it was, but they were holding something. They threw it down and started running around the basement, the DMB.
Yeah.
Where we usually have our shop. It's just like a rehearsal space at that point. Running around, like yelling at the top of their lungs, and then the next person dropped what they had, started running around yelling. By the end, all of us were just running and just letting it all out, letting all our frustration out. And it was such an incredible moment of like group frustration and like solidarity in that. And it just happened.
Yeah.
That's, how many different things like that have happened on that campus, that were beautiful, and so much of American theater is built on that.
So much of American theater. And I like the little things around the O'Neill. Like you walk around and you see faces. You ever realize that? People have made faces all over the place.
Oh, that people actually made? Not just...
Yeah, like you look at a tree, somebody actually like took bark, carved it out, put it back on the tree as a face. I have pictures of a couple things.
Oh, I think I know that I can picture.
Yeah, there's that. At the DM, there's with the sunken theater under the steps. There's a little door, and somebody made a little hobbit hole kind of thing. And there's like so many little things, like people put little puppets all over the place underneath things. And the reason why I would figure those things out because I'm always sitting on the floor, and then I'll look around. Hey, I see something there. And that's the thing, like the O'Neill gives you the space to just be you. And things that happen, like, you could tell jokes at the O'Neill that you could only tell at the O'Neill. Like, we were doing a bit of from a Golden Book record called Brave Cowboy Bill, and we nailed that joke to hell, because we would just go outside during like break time, and we'd be like, "Hey, did you hear about Brave Cowboy Bill's sister?" And we would always rhyme something. So the song is Brave Cowboy Bill. So Brave Cowboy Bill was sick, so it'd be Brave Cowboy Ill. Stupid things until like by the end of that week we were sick of it, but we still did it. And it's that, and everybody who's in that strand, that's the thing that we have.
For the rest of your lives,
Yeah.
you'll see each other in Paris, and
Yeah.
you'll be like, Brave Cowboy Ill.
Yeah. Or learning to juggle. Like someone had juggling balls and teaching us to juggle, and I've always wanted to learn that. I can just do a flash, but that's enough juggling for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
Mhm.
that's only less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like bonded for life.
We are. We have like 2 minutes. You can plug in anything you want now, Taylor.
Plug. Well, my plug.
Where can we find Taylor Bibat?
TaylorBibat.com.
Mm-hmm.
IBAT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram and Discord and maybe Threads. I don't know Threads. I never used Twitter before, but Patch Play Tay, PATCHPLAYTAY. That comes from this idea I had when I was in high school. We had to make a poetry book, and I named it Patchwork Playground, and so that's kind of been like a in my life. Yeah. Let's see what else.
What's Taylor Bibat gonna tell people in Trinidad about puppets?
Just keep doing it. It does, and done. What is it? What's the saying? Done is better than perfect, or perfect is the enemy of done. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're gonna find this, and you're gonna put it.
I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah.
It's gonna say, "Thank you for being here, and we love you."
Yeah.
Thank you. That last bit.
Yes. Wait, what?
You were gonna say something.
Oh gosh, it says less than a minute up there. Now I'm all stressed.
Oh no.
We have less than a minute. No. Yeah, just do. Just do.
Don't think, just do.
Don't think, just do. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's never ever gonna be perfect. It doesn't exist.
Earn, learn, yearn. Remember it.
Earn, learn, yearn.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, and we love you. And
Thank you.
You'll be back for the big Unima Talks party at the end of the season.